Wow, we're live,
Are we live? Do we
sir.
have? Do we? we're we're live and we are here again. Welcome to PDF and DD podcast. This is your trusty Romeo One Oscar with my friend Disgruntled Doc. Hi, Disgruntled Doc. How are you?
Hola, gracias por venir. I'm
No,
good, bro.
hola, que hay de nuevo?
you know, thanks for picking me up from my construction job. But what's up?
It was Home Depot, bro. I was there picking up a few things and I saw you, so I was like, hey, what's up,
yeah.
homie?
Well, I am working on my garden, so yeah, like definitely prime time that you pick me up from there.
Heck yeah. So, well, we called this the Memorial Day stream, so I guess probably worth addressing that a little bit, right?
Of course.
It's weird. Like it's one of those things. I think in some ways, um, well, number one, it's weird because what we get people a lot of times try to turn a Memorial Day into Veterans Day. People don't know. I even drove by a church today with a church actually saying Happy Memorial Day and thank a veteran or something. It's just like, it's like your heart's in the right place, but ooh. I wonder how many people actually showed up at Applebee's and tried to get a free meal today.
Yeah, like I can appreciate the fact that like they have like maybe like the right intention, but it's just like the completely wrong delivery of it, and it's just like I don't know. It's they put you between a rock and definitely a hard place. It's like, okay, I understand where you guys are coming from, but let's. I think the name should be kind of self-explanatory sometimes. Memorial Day, as in memory, but I don't know. There's only so much you can do, you know.
Yeah, you're getting on to all those prefixes and suffixes and trying to be all big and smart on us. Making people break down a word and figure out what it means.
What does
Come
it
on, man.
mean? Yeah, I know, and it's, dude, I know it's hard, and sometimes I'm not smart, but I try to be, you know.
Yeah, no, I just fake it. I haven't even learned how to read yet, but nobody's figured that out yet. The military never figured it out. So hey, here I am.
Let me.
It got me to this point now where I can do a podcast with you, but obviously I can't put I can never seem to reassemble my mic and my earphones properly when I'm trying to get this out. Dude, like every time. And literally, I swear to you, what I did. So we did that podcast, what was it, like a month ago, right?
Yeah, a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Um, I have not, the only thing I did was there was like a USB hookup to my laptop. I disconnected that. That's all I did. And then I tried to reconnect it. And we know what was that like? What was that, like 30 minutes there? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I think most of our time spent is op checking all our stuff and making sure everything works, and I'm over here just sitting here. But life
Well,
happens,
and
like
you know,
you know what I mean?
part of the problem too is, and we were talking about this earlier today, right?
Yeah,
It's so much of what we do, we just kind of do it off the cuff. You're like, hey, we haven't done a podcast in a while. We should do a podcast. I mean, and it's like too, and I know I've discussed this with other people. I think with me, it's funny when I was I can do a podcast easy talking about just any sort of topic, but
Same.
because so many of our podcasts have drifted into the religious side of things,
Yeah.
and I know that we've got an audience that we're reaching with that, which is good. But at the same time, I'm always like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, But I mean, granted, both you and I mean, we're not priests, like
Yeah,
we're
we're
not.
laymen.
Yeah, man, and we're just trying to do our best with that, but still at the same time too. I think that it
Yeah,
makes me hesitate.
it definitely does, and it's hard at times. You know what I mean? To just kind of, I was talking to one of the boys, and then even with you, like this, you try to be smarter, definitely about like the way you portray things, especially with the page, and even just someone was asking me actually, funny enough, a couple of days ago if I was gonna make silkies with like the new logo on there, and he's like, yeah, because like I like all your stuff and the stuff that you're posting, all the Christian stuff, but it's like with the old like the OG logo, like it kind of has like the two girls and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, I know, like it's such a weird crossroads that it's just like things have to change for the better, but then it's just like something that's been so traditional, maybe not traditional, but just it's been like what the page has been since like 2012. Oh my gosh, like 10
Yeah,
years. Yeah, but the change has to
working
happen like as mature, adults.
as much as we act like we are. Sometimes we're all grown up.
I'm a 33-year-old man child.
Damn, you're old.
Yeah, I feel old. But like if you take military, you add like you double that, I think. That's what it is.
what the military experience doubles. What about the
No, it doubles in your
what?
age because it's like you're doing all this stuff, but then also you're carrying not just your weight, and then also like everyone that you're serving around you as well. At least for being a corpsman, you know what I mean? Because like I always tell people, it's like you're not just like doc, you're also like mom, your dad, your RP, your chaps, you're like uh, a mental health professional, you're a religious expert, and they always come to you and ask you all these crazy questions. So it's like, okay, now I have to like instead of just knowing basic medicine like water, socks, Motrin, now I gotta like know a little bit of everything.
Change your socks and pray.
Yeah. Actually, ooh, yeah, that literally fix all your problems. Hey, pray more and drink more water, and that's it. Thank you for
And
coming to the
I
podcast.
don't. I'm even trying to remember when the last time was I took Motrin. It's been a while. It's been a bit. I think some Naprosyn though. I like Naprosyn better than Motrin. I don't know. What's your opinion on Naprosyn, Doc?
Well, naproxen, yeah, like one a day, so it usually helps a lot better. But it also depends on what it is that you're being treated for, I guess. But naproxen is definitely a lot easier, and also depends on if you have other like allergies or if it affects you in a different certain way. I mean, they're both under like NSAIDs, but people react sometimes a little bit differently. So, I mean,
Well, I know
go
for me
for it.
too, dude. Because you're well, for me, it's usually been like broken bones. I've broken my ankle, broken my leg, stuff like that. And when that's
Yeah,
happened, it's always felt better. Like I just don't think Motrin hits me right. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. I don't get the same feel like I do with the naproxen sodium.
yeah, I can see that. But it's been a while. I don't know. Like I'm really bad at taking medication. Like it's it's probably like one of the worst things about like being a corpsman. It's like you're like hurt or that you should be doing something like that's more medically sound. Not just for like physically, but like mentally and emotionally too. And you're just like, man, I'll be fine. I'm just gonna take a knee and I'm good. Like, and then years down the road, and you're like, nah, dude, I knew I should have gotten all these things checked out.
Dude, I mean, so many things, like just in the military in general, like, well, because there's, I think it's two ways, right? There's the one side that's just gonna tough it out through everything and not to get things taken care of because you don't want to look like the malingerers. And
Yeah.
there's the other side that's just like, oh yeah, I don't want to do anything. Let's go to medical.
Yeah, it's a weird balance of things, but I think more people should be taking care of themselves and like because it'll help in the long run. And I know I need to practice more what I preach on that aspect, and I've definitely been trying to. I need to go see the VA sometime soon. Thanks for reminding me, bro.
Well, it's actually too. That's kind of the funny thing because we were talking about this beforehand. Because
Yeah.
I uh, I have such a tendency. I'm really good at helping other people. I'm really bad at helping myself, and I'm really bad at asking others to help me. Like there's a few people,
I
oddly
confirm.
enough, or maybe it's not even necessarily odd. I don't know how you want to position this, but for me, the people that I trust for the most part, it's like vets. And and I've said this before too, like some of the worst people I know are vets. The best people and the worst people I know are vets.
Yeah. I mean, mine's like a mixture because like I have a lot of like close, like yeah, a lot of my closer friends. And I mean, because for like the past 12 years, this is all I've really been doing. But yeah, I've been veterans. But then even then, like with like the page, there's been a lot of support from people that aren't veterans, and they've been like genuine and as ever. So like I can definitely appreciate that. But
But at
I'd
the
say it's a
same time,
mostly true statement. Yeah.
well, because for me too, like if it's like, hey, I really need to get something, like I need to get something done, I need help on something.
Yeah.
Um, it's got to be a vet that I'm going to ask for, and I hate that it's that way, but at the same time too, I think there's just a different ethos.
Yeah, I think there definitely is, but I think also maybe um, some other people that do kind of see it, but I guess it's hard to kind of for them to see from the outside in. But if you've had any kind of family, like most of them understand, so then they already have that understanding. So I guess they can already peer into that ethos a little bit and understand that. So yeah, but most
Well,
veterans do tend to understand. Like the minute you ask, it's like, they're asking you for a favor, and it's not for no reason at all. So, but yeah,
and I think in general though too, at the same time, like a good church that you're a part of that's got a good like an organization with the men there in general. But I would be more inclined to go to them after I would ask a vet. Now, if there's a vet at my church, that's money.
oh, then bro, like that's yeah, easy. There's a few of them on mine actually. Now that you mention it, I haven't really talked to them about it because they're like, no offense, like they're mostly like boomers. uh, it's still cool because like they get it. You know what I mean? One of them was a pilot in Vietnam. He's a solid
Oh, no
cat.
kidding.
Yeah, it's so funny too because he drives like a Beetle, like a newer one. It's pretty hilarious.
Oh, like one of those chick cars.
Yeah.
Is it pink?
No, it's black. It's respectable, right? Like,
Okay. All right. I'll cut him some slack for that. He was a pilot too. Well,
yeah.
what kind of pilot? What kind of pilot?
Actually, I've never really asked. I think he might have been Helos because he's got a bronze star on there, so he's probably a Helo pilot.
Hmm.
But yeah,
That's interesting, man.
yeah, he's good. He's a good dude, but it's still like that different generational like gap. Like I know he'd probably understand most of the stuff I'm talking about because like who knows like what kind of stuff he saw in Vietnam too, especially to get a bronze star in that time frame is probably like spicy. But yeah, I don't know if there's any that are like around my age that I've noticed. But then I'm not going around just asking people. You know what I mean? Now that I'm like out, I have like a beard. Like I just kind of want to be normal.
Dude, I've talked to you. That's how long did it take you to grow that beard?
Oh, dude, the whole 2 months I was on leave, and even then, it's like really. You you saw my beard today, bro. It looks absolute dog water. Like it doesn't fill in all the way. Like it's
You
your
need to get like a
typical castizo, you know,
dude,
like.
dude. Come on, you got that like that Mexican blood, man. Do like the women do with the Sharpies. fill
Yeah,
in, fill in, fill in some of the gaps.
the mustache is nice. Like it feels in nice, and like I got like the freaking what is it? The neck beard, but it just doesn't grow up into the cheeks, and it's kind of like disappointing. Like a little bit, but it's not full. But I was thinking about like just doing like chopping it down a little bit, and then just going full Danny Trejo, just for the meme, you know. But then I'm like, you know what? I've already committed 2 months. I'm gonna try to go as long as possible, and then be out there begging on the streets for money. So I got that going for me.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. that's a that's a good that's a good positive goal. I gotta apologize to everyone too, and you know this, man.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling well today. I don't know if it's like allergies or a cold or I don't know, maybe it's monkeypox or shingles or
It's all three.
although the monkeypox doesn't seem very prevalent in the heterosexual population, but they don't seem to want to talk about that much.
Well, good thing I'm out of the Navy. Whew, dodged that bullet. Sorry,
and,
you set that one too perfectly, but I
and,
know.
and here you were talking about today how you were trying to get away from your homoerotic lifestyle, and right back you are.
Right back, I go into it. It's just yeah, yeah. I don't
It's
know.
way too natural.
Yeah,
So
it's
wait, you were go ahead.
no, I don't have anything.
So you were in 12, was that right?
Yeah, yeah, dude. It's a long time.
Yeah, dude, and it all comes down to that you didn't want to get that stupid jab at the end of the day.
Yeah, and like even though like the Navy won like that case due to this like Navy SEALs that like and I guess there were I don't know if there was like a few Marines that were part of that case, although like the whole thing with the Marine Corps like was on this like really weird thing. Like I legit could have stayed in and reenlisted and done more time and done my full 20 or whatever, but just morally, I guess I just couldn't do it anymore. Like the way they were treating us was just like it was honestly depressing for like a lot of people. And like some of my junior dudes would come and like talk to me and like yo, like hey, like what's gonna happen? I'm like, bro, like I don't know, man. Like we're all, like this is like before we found out, you know what I mean? And it was tough because it's like they didn't know, I didn't know what was gonna happen, and then eventually like thing came out, hey, uh, if you EAS before like June 1st or whatever, you're good, and we're not gonna kick you out. So I was like, okay, cool, I could just regular get out. But then I was still kind of wondering if they were gonna admin step me, and then luckily, glory to God, that I'm out under honorable conditions, so I get to keep all my pennies. But then literally like right before I went on terminal leave is when the Navy SEAL case won. And then I had my chief and everyone like, hey, so did you hear about the thing? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you want to re-enlist? And I'm like, hell no, I'm getting out. Like, it was too much, and that just the Navy, the military, I guess in general, just kind of showed their hand on that one. And then like some people that were counting on like getting out, now they couldn't. So then it made things a little difficult for them, and like I pray for them every day because it must be hard trying to bank on, well, I'm getting kicked out, so I might as well use all my leave and plan for getting out. And now they're not, so life's kind of crazy like that, you know.
Well, it's just it's a yeah, it's such a crazy situation, bro. I mean, to basically and seeing now too as well. What was it? Because every time, I mean, how often now are we seeing these people who are in their 50s and 60s, famous people that just managed to pass away in their sleep? You know, whether it's these boxers that are, various people along the way that have gone. Because Ray Liotta,
Yeah,
he was just last week, and maybe it's legit, right? But I'm
yeah.
sorry, man. At this point, especially after you see all the what was it like with the New York that marathon or Brooklyn Marathon? What was it like? Uh,
I,
Somewhere like 15, 20 people. One guy had a heart attack,
I
died or
didn't even
something
hear
after.
about that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And because you had to have that shot
Oh, okay.
just to even participate.
Okay, I think I do remember seeing something like that. But yeah, it made things so much difficult. Like even like all the sailors that I had under me, like, and even then, like people messaging the page is just like, hey, like I'm being locked in my room, I'm barely being fed, no one's like taking
Oh
care of
man.
me. So then that adds even more to like all this craziness, and it's just like, how can I help, and how can I still be part of this system that's like doing this to their own people? And that was
Well,
really
that
another
was the thing
thing.
that was well, that's what was difficult too, man, for us like PBF, like we're not active duty, right?
Yeah.
And we've got so many people.
like you've done a good job at it, and then CWO, man, Terminal CWO, he's been all over this stuff,
Yeah, he's still like
covering it.
going
And
heavy, bro.
well, dude, that one thing too that he posted today, um, what carrier was that? That they're like on rations of 2 meals a day.
Yeah, I'd seen that. I don't know what ship.
Like,
Give me a sec.
oh yeah, because I think it was on there. It was on the story.
The Truman, yeah.
On yeah,
It's
man.
yeah, it's kind of sad like to see like these dudes that are like suffering, even like the George Washington and all the stuff that happened over there and the drama that got me on Master Chief's radar again. Um, all that stuff over there too. Like the dudes are over there hurting, and it sucks to like they're trying to paint things in such a good light and a good PR, but realistically speaking, it's worse than what it is. And then all the
So I didn't hear
suicides.
about this. You being back on Master Chief's radar.
Yeah, yeah. So I talked about it on my podcast, I guess. But so he went to the George Washington because there's been like 3 suicides within like a month, and it's been one a month for
Right.
like the past like 10
Yeah,
months
yeah,
or something like that. And
yeah.
then somebody was complaining, and they said that it's like, hey, like things are bad, like things are like bad, you know what I mean? They had legitimate complaints about how things were on the ship and all this other stuff, and he practically like told them that, hey, like, sorry, your expectations weren't up to reality. They should have been more realistic, but hey, like maybe you should lower your maybe not lower your standards, but lower your expectations or whatever. And it just blew up from there. And then, of course, like I saw it, and then people were messaging the page about it. And then I started making all these the stickers to lower your standards, and then all this stuff. So we were posting all the stuff from all these horrible barracks. And then I know that they were watching the stories and probably the post as well. But I was making merch on Teespring, and then the black shirts that I was making of that, it was completely fine. But the OD Gree ones and then the brown shirts were automatically getting shut down. So they were getting like completely reported every single time. So
Yeah, I remember when I was talking to you that one day, and you were doing that, and like the shirt was automatically getting shut down. I remember that.
yeah,
It was
and
just
then
like,
I emailed the support, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's been like some kind of report, a copy strike." I'm like, "How is it a copy strike? I'm literally drawing and like making all these vectors and like doing all this stuff on my own." So I was like, "It's probably freaking the PAO again, coming after me." So it's like I know I've already been on their radar before when we got shut down the first time. When we made the worst Navy command, and the George Washington won that year too, to make it even more hilarious.
hey, but see, that's what the newly launched PDF now on here on Instagram. But if you guys aren't following it, it's PBFOOX. If you guys
Yeah,
don't know yet, hopefully you know and you're following. But basically, we've gone all in satire at this point.
yeah,
Hopefully, it's obvious. But I've seen people comment at times and they don't get it. Like, because that was part of the problem, I think, in the past. We'd go too hardcore, pinpointing what the problem is. So why not talk about the problem, but 180 degrees from the way the problem is and over exaggerate it? At least
yeah.
that's my philosophy. Now we'll see how it works out.
I think it'll work. I mean, y'all were like within like a couple of days of making it. Like you guys are almost up to like 4K now, I think.
Oh no, we're up at we're like at 4.1 now.
Yeah, nice.
But we're not posting that much. Well, and honestly too, I can't even post on it. Any of the posts that I do on it, I have to send to somebody else to have them post for me because my phone has been banned because so many of our Instagrams and even Facebooks have been on that phone. It's an older phone that I've got, and I've maintained it just for that for
Got
posting
a
because I don't put
Nokia.
apps. Yeah, dude, I got a flip phone that I post, or my Nokia with Snake on it.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Um, it's funny like how all this stuff is, because Well, because that was the thing, right? That's how I found out how marked I was because I was trying to, and I kept getting turned down. And so with the Orthodox disciples
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
and I have kind of set up here and everything, I tried to log into that one, and then they burned it down immediately.
yeah. It was actually
That
pretty
was
funny.
hilarious. Oh, dude, it was just like I was like, bro, it's gone, and you were like, wait, what?
I know, like it just shut down. I was like, bro, I literally just made this and it was good, and then it was just like, nope. And then I was like, bro, I think you're tagged. But yeah,
Oh no! I mean, that was just confirmation that I was or that I am. Whatever,
it's like,
whatever, man.
no, I think it happens for a reason. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like we have to do different avenues, and it's hard sometimes to even like think about things like that, and even like looking back right now too. It's just like the old page too. Like whenever it was like shut down, I got it back for a second, and I told myself I was like, okay, I need to be more careful, and then I wasn't, and then I lost it again, and it's just like now it's just like okay, like it's all about like being smarter to be able to do the best for the most types for everyone, I guess you could say. And it's hard sometimes even for
Well,
like for both of us or even like just me because it's like okay, I want to post like more of I don't want to post the edgier stuff, but it's like I want to post more of the things that'll get things highlighted. But if it's not done in the correct manner, then it gets shut down. God bless you. So it's like, yeah, I do want to post and be more informative, but I also got to be smarter so that way I don't lose the second one and I'm able to still help whoever I can out, and whether it's just funny things or
well, I mean,
more the orthodox
that's
based posting. Yeah.
yeah, but dude, there was that one Sunday. So before these last two ones got shut down, so before I even, I we built out these last two ones. The one that got canceled
Mhm.
was that one Sunday morning when I posted three Orthodox memes, and then the I came out of church and the page was shut down. You know, and then this time it was that video that Victoria Newland and Jeffrey Pyatt
Yeah,
where they
yeah.
were talking. YouTube just took that down from there, but posting that up there to what they were actually saying and what they did in Ukraine, that's now that's just so hilarious. An
Big no
actual
no.
conversation that's been up for 8 years is now wrong because exposing the truth. And I mean, you know what? That's really like a big thing at the end of the day is just getting truth out there. That's really what I care about. You know.
Yeah. And it's hard sometimes because it's like I was having this conversation earlier, and then it's like you want people to kind of see things and you want to make it as simple as possible so then like you can't entirely miss it, but then it's extremely hard even like for me sometimes that it's like man, and am I really like is this really like how things are like that it's gotten to this point where like even something that can be so obviously true or like obviously fake, I guess you could say, that just people don't want to believe that it's the like if it's an obvious lie, people will like, oh yeah, that's true, and it's like, bro, like, are you for real? But then you give them the truth, and like, nah, man, you're crazy, bro. Like, there's no way that's true, and it's just like, come on, man, like, just think about it for a second.
I don't know, man. It's so reflective of this world and everything like that. I think that's kind of
Society.
well. I mean, for you too, bro. I mean, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, though, too, right?
Yeah.
You what what we had gone into for the military versus what the military is now.
Yeah.
All these little things like that. It just there's a lot of things that have been contradictory, but I think that's ultimately too what pushed us back towards Christ and into the church and everything. Because that's like right. What is the prologue of John talk about? The logos, the truth,
Mhm.
the word.
Yeah.
Because that's what we find in the world. The world is full of so many lies, and it's the military is full of lies. The interactions of so many of the things that we do. I don't know.
No, I
Am I
completely
making sense?
agree.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, because then like you take it in for so long, and then eventually like you realize that it's like you're kind of poisoning yourself in like this really are like weird way. You know what I mean? And I don't know, maybe it's like a masochistic like type thing, but it's like yeah, like you kind of learn to live with it, or it's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome, and then the minute you get out and like, okay, like now what? And like it gets to this weird spot. But if like you actually like for me, luckily, I don't know, I guess like I always had kind of like a Christian background and upbringing, so it's like I could lean back on that. But then I don't know, I like not to like rip on any like Protestants because like I was one as well, you know what I mean, evangelical most of my life, like, but it just felt like it was missing something. And I don't know if it was just the churches I was going to or what, but like it just felt like it was missing that. And until like now I'm like this old and like I'm like feel like I'm finally starting to understand and like lean back on that like real truth of things because nothing else seems to make any sense. But then the more I read, the more I actually study it, the more it makes sense of why everything's so crazy.
Well, yeah, man. That's what it's funny you talk about that. Saturday I was having a discussion with one of my neighbors.
Hmm.
He was out doing some stuff to the lawn and everything, and I was getting ready just to go get some coffee, and I usually bring like 3 or 4 books with me, because I've got like these. Father Peter Hears, he suggested these Orthodox New Testaments. So there's the Orthodox Study Bible, which is different than the Orthodox New Testament. There's a monastery in Colorado that does them.
Okay.
So that was some of the books that I had and everything. And I was talking about Saint Mary of Egypt a little bit, and he was like, "Wait, the this response from a Protestant when you talk about saints, and then we got into discussing a little bit about the Bible itself, and I was talking about what I appreciate with Orthodoxy, that with the Church Fathers, there's so much history and studying that went on with that, and I was saying that I find it, you know, I find it challenging how there's people in the Protestant world who think they can just open up the Bible and automatically interpret it because, like if you pray to the Holy Spirit, then you'll gain more understanding. And I do believe that a Bible will speak to everyone individually. The words will speak individually, but at the same time, too, there's a lot of allusions in the Bible at times too, where they're talking about, especially when it comes to like Christ and the things that were things like Isaiah,
Yeah.
or in the Psalms as well. And unless you're just making things up, you're not going to know that. It's very difficult to know that, to understand that. And it's not something you're just going to, like, either you're just going to be making it up or you're going to have a lucky guess. Do you know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't seem very rigorous academically, and it leads itself to much more of a nihilistic type of world. And I'm just not comfortable with that way, that approach, man.
Yeah, and I can kind of, at least from my own personal experience, because even then, like I hate to admit it, like I've had like Bibles in my house for like forever, but like the times I would read the most would be like on deployments. But even then, it's like I felt like I understood most of it, but it's like you're going based on your own memories, your own experiences. So then it becomes kind of subjective to that, and without having all that, like now, like going back and as like I'm reading stuff or I'm hearing something in liturgy or like in like our Bible group stuff, like, and we're talking with like our priest about it and like we're going over it, or even there's another one that I have. It's Archbishop of Urki, and he does his commentary on and explaining each verse. Like it explains it way better than I could, or like even like the
Well,
early
and that's
fathers too, and things like that. Because I would read it, I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense to me. I kind of see it, but then the bigger depth of what I'm actually missing by like having someone who dedicated all their life to studying definitely hits a lot different.
well, okay. So here's one of the things, the analogy that he had made for me. He's like, well, if we go to we read a book and we've got a book club and we're talking about it, we might interpret things differently. And I'm like, yeah, but this isn't just like some regular book. This is the word of God. And yes, and I don't want it to sound like too, right? Like I'm not saying that you shouldn't read it on your own. That's not what I'm saying at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
I'm more against the idea that everybody is somehow their own pastor or minister or something like that. That suddenly they're just going to be inculcated with knowledge,
and be fully capable of relaying all this information. I just don't see that as being possible. There's people who were apostles and they were selected for a reason and they were taught, and there was a certain tradition that was passed down along the way. This isn't saying that you can't gain knowledge on your own. However, to think that your knowledge is going to be the supreme knowledge, to me, that just is what leads to cults.
Yeah, and it's difficult because it's like, I guess growing, and that's where what's that old saying? It's that Western mentality, because it's like I didn't even know Orthodoxy was like a thing until like last year, and I know that makes me sound completely ignorant, but it's like that's the reality of what I all I knew was like Roman Catholicism, like evangelicals, non-denominationals, Pentecostals, and literally that was it. I had no idea about Anglicans. I kind of knew about Luther, but I didn't know about like all of that. I didn't even know about the Eastern Church, the Oriental, and all these other ones. And then now it's just like, okay, now that I understand how things kind of happen over time, it makes sense of why people like go that route of like, hey, no, their experience with what Western, I guess you could say, quote unquote, Western Christianity, like gives people that illusion, I guess, or that bad taste, where it's like it pushes them away, kind of from what.
Well, dude, that's what it did to me.
Yeah,
Man, that's what pushed me away. And it was it, and again, like I was Mr. like punk rock kid and stuff like that. And you know, sometimes I think some of that too was me rebelling against Christ at times, some of the different things that I was trying to do
same.
and trying to achieve because of what they were telling me was truth wasn't even truth because it was this relativistic interpretation of what the truth happened to be in that moment. And that's why you even see now, you see people out there like you're seeing this like gender queer theory type stuff making its way into the church now. And I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
No, there's absolutely no way. No,
yeah,
absolutely not. I'm not saying that again. Hate the sin, love the sinner. Let's
yeah,
get that straight here.
yeah.
But you can't then all of a sudden codify what they're doing into the church to try to somehow make the church appealing to these people. I can feel is my voice going up? I sense my voice is going up. I sense I'm getting excited.
Just a little bit. And actually, funny enough that like you were kind of talking about that because like I was at like the school the other day, and I was talking like to somebody, and like they're like, oh hey, are you like still going to like this other church, like this evangelical church I used to go to? And I don't know, I was like, not really. Just kind of started like going to a different church, this and that. And she's like, oh yeah, we don't talk to them anymore neither. And I was like, oh okay. I was like y'all good or what? And they're like, yeah, like we're good. It's just like things started getting kind of weird. Like they were kind of leaning more towards accepting more of the things that are kind of happening. And then I was like, oh okay. And I'm like, yeah, for us something's the same, but like we're more leaning towards like orthodoxy. And I was kind of telling them how like just looking more into the theological aspect, going more into the historicity, and then just eventually, God kind of opens that door for you, and then you realize that it's like, hey, this is where I kind of have to be. So like they're like, yeah, like we've been looking at that too. I feel like most churches nowadays are missing that. They're like, we're losing all the kids. They're being lost in all these things, and we don't have like a good foundation that they're missing. We don't even do the creed. We don't do like our prayers the right and correct way. And like I invited them over to the church, but it's just kind of funny how like it's something that like I guess you and I discuss, and then like me at home as well, and then you kind of try to not to talk to people about it because like you don't know how people are gonna react, and just I want to respect people, and at their own time they'll come around, but me not even saying something and someone just on their own just kind of telling me what like I've been like thinking it's kind of it's kind of intense, and that but it's kind of glad that it makes me glad that people are kind of starting to see things and kind of starting to go back to like the roots. But then it's also sad that things have gotten this bad to where like it's gotten people like this far for them to notice, like, oh, what is actually happening now? Like, this isn't right.
Well, I mean, that was the thing too that was really interesting too with when Floyd passed. Yeah, and I've talked about this before. Their attempts to create a new religion and then also just bastardize Christianity at the same time. Um, like they had like 5 funerals for him
Jeez.
all over the country, and they have him in a gold casket. The way they're doing that, it's amazing, and that's a very obvious attempt at subverting the religion. But realistically, all these other things as well. What are you going to then at that point? It's really just for some level of community, but it's such a anathema to Christianity.
Yeah.
And that's what these people are seeing. Now, not everybody's going to see it, unfortunately. And I guess at the end of the times as well. And I'm not saying that we're 100% at the end of times, don't get me wrong, anything like that, but we're drifting definitely in that direction. And because of that, you're going to have more of a destructive of what is Christianity.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna get worse before it gets better. Like, but yeah, I guess it's pretty wild to kind of see all that and like see people kind of drift into that or just I don't know if like they're stuck between like wanting to still be Christian and still be like part of society, I guess you could say, but it's like you have to draw a line. Like it's simple. Like you can't be warm, you're either hot or cold. It's one or the other. You're either fully in or you're not. And I think that that's the part that most people tend to struggle with. It's like I don't have that problem, at least for me personally, because it's like I don't know, like I see the way society is and just all this other stuff, and it's just it makes me sad now. It used to make me more like disgusted, and it's just like, bro, like this is how bad things are gone. But then I try to slow down. I'm like, hey, you know what? Some people just don't know better, or who knows? You know what I mean? So it's like it's definitely extremely difficult to like think in that way, and I try not to and be so pessimistic and try to be more optimistic. It's like, hey, what can I do to try to help, or even just to change whatever I can around me? And I think that's another thing too that sometimes we forget is we are just as responsible because one, we're not saying anything and we're not doing anything and we're not fighting all the little things and all the little things we allow. It's the little things that eventually add up to all these big things, and it's just and
Well, I mean, that's open honestly too. Why at times, like I was saying today, like an obligation even to do these podcasts. People are looking to us for whatever reason, as retarded as we are.
I think that's what makes it so like I don't know, maybe it's just from like my own perspective and like the way maybe I see it is because we're them. We're like one of them. Like I'm not one special, man. I'm just like some dude, And it's like I'm no one, and we're just like two dudes on here, and like we're just trying to help people out. But it's like I don't have anything to hide besides my face, but like I feel like we've been trying to be as
Bro,
honest and as
you should be proud
transparent.
of that beard. Be
No,
proud of that beard.
no, dude. Actually, my neighbor the other day, we were like at a thing, and then like I was like talking with like her boyfriend or whatever, and then afterwards, like I guess she was like looking for us, and it's like, oh, there you guys are. She's like, oh my gosh, she's like, I couldn't recognize you because you have a beard now, and like you've had like no beard at all for like the past 3 years, and now it's like I don't even recognize him. I'm like, dang, dude, I'm playing
You're,
the
you're,
game.
you've got that magnificent beard on your
No, no,
face.
no, no, no,
You're
no.
you're all you're all grown up. You're all manly.
Don't let him deceive you. It's not pretty. But yeah. But yeah, dude.
It's kind of interesting.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say something I thought of because, as I was talking about some of the things with this, and because I was having a talk with my priest earlier
Mm.
as well, and some of the things we were talking about early on, the challenges that we have with looking towards others. And he sent me something from the Bible. It's from Galatians 6:2, and I think it kind of fits together with some of this stuff. Um, the bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ.
kind of goes along with what we're talking about here too, as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the thing we've got to be careful with.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight, and
Just
even well, not just like with like what we've done in the military. I think that for me also kind of solidified like part of that, and like of just helping others and carrying that weight. And it's like even as like a veteran now, I guess. But like even active duty, like like we always wanted to do that for our friends, like help them out with anything that we could. Like, hey man, here's my number. Like call me whenever. Like don't be afraid to call or like shoot me a text, and then so that way you're helping each other out in that manner. Because like when things are tough, like especially like during times like a deployment, you lean on each other heavily. So then when you get out, sometimes you forget that it's like, hey, you can still call people, you can still hit up friends. It doesn't matter how late it is. And even now, like I think that still translates onto like our communities, like not just locally, online, I guess now too, that it's just like people rely on us and then we have to rely on them as well. And sometimes it's hard to like
well,
lean on people because we're so I don't know, so
well,
hard-headed.
well, no, definitely. I know, definitely we are, and at the same time too, because we talk about this, right? Because we're in an existence now where we have to look towards our tribe. We've got to look towards the people we can count on. And if we aren't willing to put ourselves in those situations to do it, granted, you got to find the right people.
Yeah, and I think that's the well, it's not that it's hard, but sometimes it is because it's like not even like at church and stuff. Like I love my community. They're amazing, but then even some things they don't see like eye to eye on, and which is fine. You know what I mean? And things get revealed to everyone at their own time frame. You know what I mean? Hopefully, some sooner than later. But even then, yeah, like those that are around you, do help them with whatever you can and get that good. We were just talking about this earlier. Get that good, like a good group going, so then that way you guys have that. I can't remember what it was, but we were saying a good network of friends and like people together. That's what's gonna really like help each other out if you're close, but also like if you're far away and if things get weird, you have people you can rely on.
Well, and some of what I'm going to be trying to do with the podcast with us and everything is bringing on some more outside people. I've got a priest that's already committed that he'll be a part of it. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who like Made by Jim Bob is. And he said he'd do a podcast. I've got even some people like the flip flop guy, the hunter Andy, the one that does all
Yeah,
the cooking and stuff like that. He wants to.
he's good
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Yeah. That was an interesting conversation I had with him. Um, like he's really when we weren't on Telegram, he was really concerned because he likes for us to be on Telegram, and I guess there's like people out there without like saying too much, but people that pay attention to things that we say. I guess that's the best way to put it. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah,
And for whatever reason, I mean that's just I don't try to say this to be humble, but at the same time, I should be humble in general. I just, it's like you were saying, I think it's just part of it, just trying to be honest and stuff like that. But it just always kind of, occasionally, because like Tommy Vex, like he loves PBF. He's always like sharing our stuff to people. And like he was so excited when we got back up on there. Here's a guy that's a rock star that's been like this top rock star and everything like that. And
he's
I'm just like, I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm glad about it, but I'm so at the same time, I'm just like,
Just a little humble brag, no worries. Like, isn't the
no,
dude
well, it's
from
just, a,
All That Remains hasn't been he follows you guys as well, doesn't he?
I think he did before. I don't know that he does now. I'm
Yeah,
not sure if he's back on there. Like,
he's a funny cat.
and he,
I've met him. He's short. Not that I'm tall, but like, yeah, it was pretty funny. He's a funny
he
cat.
talk about Phil.
Yeah, Phil. Phil That Remains.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because he follows on a couple of the other ones, and then recently he was following like like all these people follow us, but we always get kicked off.
Life happens. It's hard when
It
you're
just
putting the truth and you're going against the ministry of truth. You know what I mean? And they're always like cracking down on you.
oh man, it's just funny at the same time. I mean, and maybe it's wrong to take it this way, but like I say we must be doing something right, but there could be a schizophrenic out there that thinks he's doing something right too. If he get taken down, so I'm not sure that that's the best way to position it. But I mean,
Yeah, I feel you though.
it's like just, but you know what though? Like when I put up 3 Christian memes and we get taken down that same morning when I do that, and then when I put on Victoria Newland's conversation with Jeffrey Pyatt about doing the coup in Ukraine in 2014 and they take us down, then I know I'm doing something right.
Yeah, it's weird too because it's well, I haven't been shut down not yet again, but it's funny too because on Sunday it's like that's like usually like the only time that like I'll do like the Sunday based posting, the Christ posting, and then like throughout the week like I'll share stuff on the stories, but like on Sundays is when I have like a lot of people like leaving like the page like when I see on the insights or whatever, and it's just like throughout the rest of the week it's everything else, and then like Sundays is like that time, and then like they should know by now like right, it's Sunday, and even then it's just like all right, bro, well, good luck, God bless. But it's funny like kind of that you mentioned that, it made me think of that.
Well, no, it's funny too that people do that. I know people do that stuff and
Yeah,
everything. Um,
and somebody asked
it
me
is what it
too.
is, man.
Yeah, like the other, I can't remember what post it was on, and someone was like, "Yo, like, what's up with this page that's gotten kind of preachy?" And I had to take it as something bad, but it's like I get it, like the history of what DD has been. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of debauchery and a bunch of like craziness to like now it's still kind of like military funny content, but then Sundays is like the little more serious, but it's like. And I was telling this dude in the comments, it's like when you've been living in like pain and you've been like poisoning yourself through all this time and like you find like an answer to things, why would I not want to share that with the world? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, man.
there's a lot that just we put ourselves through and that I put myself through like personally through like so much guilt, so much dumb stuff that I didn't have to put myself through and I still did, and like it was like hard to like forgive myself for like a lot of things, and there's still things that I'm like working through. You know what I mean? I got a good system and a good family and everything that's helping me through all of this, and then at church as well. So it's quite the journey, bro. Like, and then people wonder
Well,
like
but
why. It's like, well, here
well,
it is.
well, and then people want us to like do Fat Body Friday or, oh, go make fun of boots. Why? Why? Like we're
Yeah,
not even in the military anymore. Like things like that, and it's like we've gone on a journey. Like, and I get it too, man. Like
yeah,
how many bands? Well, there's a lot of bands out there as they age musically. I don't like what they do sometimes. Like,
same.
and maybe there's just a section of albums that I like and stuff like that. And you know what, man? But there's some people that still like them, and you know what? There's some people that still like us. And there's people out there that do that stuff that we used to do.
Yeah,
Man, because there's plenty of opportunity for people to do that.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. That's actually I never even thought about it that way. Yeah, there's like it's
Yeah,
like
man.
okay, it's like yeah. If y'all have seen like the evolution of like the pages and where they're at now, like this was kind of its I guess a natural progression of things. But it's like yeah, like you can still follow us, but if you're looking for a different type of content, you can still find another page that's posting a lot of all the stuff. Like there's a million of them.
Well, and at the same time, it's like, when I've gotten in my little more like annoyed mood, I'm like, look, dude, I didn't choose to follow you. You chose to follow us. Man. And if you don't like what we're posting, cool, bro. Don't have to be here. It's okay.
Yeah,
And especially too, like, I think it's funny when people choose not to follow any longer because of this. And honestly, did you watch that interview with that Justin Marler, the guy that had been in the band Sleep?
No.
I talking about the guy that was the monk. He was in the band Sleep, and then he went on to become
Oh,
a monk.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Monk.
Yeah, yeah. You sent me the video. I like watched part of it, then I got distracted doing like some other like things, like probably because I was like digging and like working on stuff like this whole week. But
But
I was listening to the band you sent me, that one, and then what was the other one? OM or DM, right?
yeah,
Um.
yeah, no, because they use. Well, that's some of the guys from Sleep.
Okay.
So after Justin left, but that's interesting. So if anybody doesn't know here, Justin Martler, he was in the doom kind of stoner metal band Sleep in the Bay Area in the early '90s, and he was like super depressed, cutting himself, stuff like that. But he was becoming a super famous musician. This was a guy like, think about this, like he was living in warehouses with Green Day, just to give you a perspective on the time that he was doing stuff like this and everything. But he wasn't very happy, and he happened to meet an Orthodox nun. And the Orthodox nun, he got to talking about it, and the Orthodox nun just said, "Hey, go look up just to see like what the religion is about." And he was kind of fascinated. Fast forward a little bit, he ends up becoming a monk. Oddly enough, at the monastery that Father Seraphim Rose that I talked so much about was at. So for like 8 years, he was a monk. There were some different challenges that was happening with the monastery that he was at that were causing some problems. It wasn't that he didn't like the people there, but there had been some problems where like a an abbot of the monastery had not gone, because like here's the thing: if you're a priest or a bishop or an abbot or something like that in an Orthodox church, you've got like the hierarchy above you, whether it's a bishop, a metropolitan, patriarch, things like that. You got to do what they say. It's like the military, like that's your leadership. You got to do what you say. And this abbot was going in his own direction at the monastery, and when he went in his own direction at the monastery, he ended up actually um, they took away his participation in the church, if you will, but he kept going. And his process of doing that caused the monastery to be in a really bad place, and that guy was there. So he ended up actually leaving the monastery, and he's still really active though in the church. Like there's a process you can go through because you've got to go through a process to become a monk, and there's a process you can go through to leave being a monk. You got to like reverse the process, I guess. But he had that done, and now he's still in bands. He's got bands and stuff like that now. Still really active. Um, he started out something that I love. I absolutely love that I found early on. It's called Death to the World, and they make some really cool shirts. They've got these really cool zines that you can find online. And he actually wrote a book for them, the Children of the Apocalypse or something like that was the name of it. Youth of the Apocalypse. That's what it was. They're actually getting ready to put out another book like that. And it's interesting because it's definitely got like that edge of an old like punk rock magazine zine feel to it, but it's covered in Orthodox icons and sayings by saints and things like that. And it's really powerful stuff, man.
They got really
Um,
good shirts too. Like they're like my
oh yeah,
shit.
oh dude, they do. And what was interesting is he was talking about how as a monk he would go to the shows and he would bring the zine along with him. And even they went to some punk magazines and they tried to advertise, and because they were Christians, they couldn't. And it's just so funny that sort of thing because that's basically, I mean, like, look, I'm not saying we're facing some huge persecution or anything like that now, but we do get a lot of backlash from people. We do. We catch crap from people, and that's fine. Man. Like I've engaged with a few people at times. Um,
Yeah.
it's sort of ridiculous, whatever. But it's just interesting to see the bigotry because that's really what it comes down to that exists against Christianity and when people are doing the stuff like we're doing. But it's fine. Like I'm not saying this in such a way like, oh, woe is me. Oh. No, no, no. It's all good. It's all good. And honestly, too, I kind of get a kick out of it at times. Just
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's more like a bit of a challenge that like working under that pressure of knowing that there's people out there hoping that you kind of fail and they're kind of seeing all this stuff. So like as I work the same way, if there's a bit of pressure, like that's when I feel like I work like the best. But then at the same time, simultaneously, if I'm under that stress for too long, then other areas start affecting me. But then like the church, I guess the best times that it's done is under a high scrutiny, or even when they're always like under like really horrible regimes like the Bolsheviks, like in Russia and all that. Like even though they like martyred a lot of Christians during that time, like the faith was probably the strongest during that time too. So it's like it's both. It's weird.
Yeah, man. And I mean, whatever. I mean, people are still listening to us now. They want to hear what we have to say, and we're just going to keep doing this, and hopefully we can, branch out to some other things and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that's definitely the biggest goal, I guess. Yeah, for this is to like for people to kind of see that it's like, hey, like this isn't just for nothing. Like I definitely see a lot of changes like in me, and they're difficult changes and difficult things that like uh, one example, I guess, like for y'all. So like I've not spoken to my like dad in like 12 years, maybe give or take. And I talked to him for the first time, and I asked him to forgive me, and it was really difficult. It was so hard after like years of keeping him away from me and my family, and then just keeping him away.
Can you
'Cause,
give
like,
any more back? Can you give any more background on why? Can you talk about that, or do you not want to?
yeah, yeah. So like, grew up really rough childhood. Like my dad used to beat my mom. Um, used to sell drugs and stuff like that, and like I remember like growing up seeing all that as a kid, and then like going through a really bad divorce, and then he was never really there at all like as a father. So then like I saw all that growing up, and then like he would like claim us on his taxes, and then he would like
Oh man,
take the money and then say that no, I didn't get any money, and just things like that, and it
I get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it
Wow.
really bothered me. And then I at
Oh, of
one
course.
point,
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's understandable
yeah,
to have the animosity that you had towards him, and that's
yeah,
actually amazing that you. Well, it's good that you did reach out to him. How'd that go?
it was extremely hard, bro, because it's like I knew that like it's something that I needed to do, but I just couldn't like it took me like a little bit, and then I was talking to my priest, and then like he was like, yeah, no, and he's like, and he laid it out so perfectly of just like if God can forgive us for our mistakes and the things we've done
Sure.
and not turn his back on us and still help us out and still take us back, who are we to take that spot and not forgive someone and not invite them back despite how many times they fail? And it hit me, dude. Like I was like floored, and like
Well, think about Peter, right?
yeah,
You know,
Peter,
Peter, yeah, man, denying
he
him twice, and then
the
or,
third
or three
time,
times. Well, because in some of the gospels it says twice, the other ones say
yeah,
three times. Doesn't matter, or maybe it's the crow. I don't
yeah.
know. There's two or three times, and I'm not feeling. Those who are listening now, you may have just come in.
He's a little under the
I'm a little
weather.
bit sick. Yeah, I'm a little bit sick. So please
But
don't.
yeah, Peter,
But
yeah, he wept bitterly because like, but afterwards, like, yeah, like when the myrrh bearing women, they got told like, hey, yeah, go tell the disciples and Peter, because he wasn't with the disciples during that time. But either way, yeah, it was a hard conversation to have because it's like I like to keep things like I know like short, sweet, and like to the point. But then like I can't imagine also from like his side not hearing from like his oldest son for like years and stuff, and then I mean it went okay. Like it was difficult because then it's like confronting someone and telling them, and then also like forgiving them, but then asking them for forgiveness was hard. But then like my dad likes to ramble like incoherently sometimes, and sometimes he like gets to from like point A to Z, and I'm like, how did you even get here, dude? So that was pretty funny and pretty wild, but it was definitely it was a lot harder than what I thought it was gonna be. But it definitely made me feel a little bit more at peace knowing that it's like, okay, like I've kind of
What,
helped bridge that a little bit.
where did you guys leave it at? Where's it at now?
It was more of just like, hey, like we'll talk every once in a while or text because it, it's hard, and like I don't want people like judging him, you know what I mean? Because it's like we all have our own faults and stuff, but it's like when I remember things so vividly and clearly, and then when he still denies it, it's just like, bro, like
Yeah,
it makes it hard,
yeah,
and
for sure. No. Okay, I didn't realize that
no,
was.
you're good.
Yeah, definitely.
But
No,
I'd rather be
no. I
100%
mean,
honest. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, it's hard,
no.
but
What I'm
then
saying is, I didn't realize that like that he just acted like what you described. He just acted like none of that happened. Like no,
yeah,
this.
to like on the phone, like he's like, no, he's like, it didn't happen that way, and I'm like, bro, like I just want to be good with you, just please. Like I'm trying to
Throw me a bone.
but then I'm just like, okay, you know what? Like I'm gonna let it be. That's between him and God. He can answer to him. Like I'm just trying to like put that water under the bridge and just be good on my own. So like I told him like, yeah, like we can like talk every once in a while, send a text or whatever. So then that way, like I'm not trying to be like anything too crazy, I guess. So it's just like I'm just trying to have things be good. But even then, then it was just I was like, oh dear Lord, have mercy on me, please, like help me. But yeah, so it's like it's quite a journey to try to like fix and amend all these things, and yeah,
No, I mean but that's the thing too, because that's cleaning yourself up, man. You know, and at
yeah,
the end of the day, too, you know, like with what your priest said, right? Like it really puts it in perspective. If God could forgive us for all the things that we've done, you know, and that's the thing too. It kind of there's a whole level of discussion you could get into about the things that go on in the world. And you know something I want actually, you know what, I want to address that a little bit because I'm thinking of that. What people fail to realize when they start talking about the bad things that go on in the world is the world's bad because we let the world be bad.
yeah,
Like you were talking about before, how we don't do enough to try to fix the world. When, you know, what, 60 million kids have been killed, murdered from abortions?
yeah.
That's that's evil.
It's insane.
That's that's sacrificing to Moloch at multiple levels. And I know that, you know, I know there's people who don't like me saying that, and I really don't care. I really don't care. And you know, and if you don't want to hear me saying that, cool. You can keep listening and just understand that I'm not going to change my opinion on that because
Yeah.
that's just straight up murder. It's a straight up murder, and it's a murder of an innocent being.
Yeah, and it's always such a touchy subject with people because they're like, "Oh, well, you don't care about women." It's like, no, but we do, and it's just like there's been such a change, and there's been such a like what how things should be are so twisted now to the point that it's like it's almost unrecognizable. But it's like that when you try to
Well,
speak something into defense of another life, they think that you're attacking another one, but it's just like no, it's also an accountability of other different things because it's like
yeah, well, you know, but here's the thing, man. You're taking these innocent lives
yeah,
that God has created,
yeah,
and we're suddenly trying to justify this. And when it's that level of this sort of ends justify the means, right? Oh, well, I'm just too young for that, or you know, I was going to have a career and all these things like that.
yeah. It's a huge major
So,
cope. Yeah,
and so ultimately, though, it's back to what I was saying. What does that do to the world around us when things like that are going on?
we allow it, and it doesn't
We
make things
allow it to
better.
happen.
It doesn't make
No,
any
it taints the world. It taints the world. You know, man. Like
That's like something. Who was it? Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I like reading a lot of his stuff. He's got a lot of. But
he's good.
yeah, one of the quotes that he said is like, if everyone just did their small little bit, like Russia wouldn't have gone as bad as it did during that time frame. But he's like, we allowed all these things to happen. Like if
Yeah,
we would have just stood up and fought back against every little thing that made it, he's like, I am just as guilty of all of the
yeah.
stuff that has happened. And yeah, it sucks because then you look at your own action. It's like, what have I allowed? And every day
Well,
is
yeah.
like a constant like struggle. It's like at the end, like when I'm doing my night prayers, and it's just like, yeah, you're doing your reflection at the end of the day. It's like, what did I allow myself to fail in that I need to work on? That it like it
Well,
wasn't until now that like I came to realize like how how much there is, and it's like, bro, like I was telling you the other day, like I was reading into the life confession, and I was like, okay, it shouldn't be like that crazy. And then like I started looking more and like looking at the 10 commandments, and then somebody else had a breakdown of all these other things that kind of go into it. And then I realized, I'm like, oh bro, it's not that simple. It's simple, but it's so complex, and there's so much that goes into each one, and it's just like, oh man. And then you come to realize that it's just how heavy, and it's heavy, but it should be light at the same time. And it's just like, but we choose to not do the correct things because we're so used to doing things in such a manner that like in the in everyday life, that is just like all these little choices, like they really do add up. And then later you're just like, bro, what have I done?
Well, and how many times too do people operate from the perspective of to like who am I hurting, or you know what I mean, or who's it really hurting, or however they want to position it. You know,
Not
like
hurting anyone. Oh, bro, I've been there. That used to be me. But yeah, it all adds up, and it's hard, but it should be easier. But I think we ourselves just make things extremely difficult for ourselves because we're not smart creatures, and I think that's the reason why God would always refer to us as sheep. You know, if only we were to
feed my
follow.
sheep.
Yeah. If only we were to follow the good shepherd and just stay along that path, but instead we get distracted, and we let the little things in life to just, ooh, there's a shiny thing. What is that? And then you're like, oh no, I'm in trouble. God help me. That's
and
crazy.
that's the thing too, right? Like,
Yeah.
how many times do we just? How many times do we reach out and just say thank you?
Yeah.
It's that way with many things in life, but especially in that situation. You know, things are bad. Somebody please, whatever's out there in the spirit universe, whatever people say, whatever ridiculous thing
Flying
people
spaghetti
say.
monster.
Oh, dude, that's the one too. And that's one of the ones people I've seen say on some of my posts at times
Or that one, or
with
Sky
the
Daddy.
yeah, Sky Daddy. Yep, yep, yep. They're flying spaghetti monster Sky Daddy. And what's funny too is these neck beards that say stuff like that. Not meaning to insult you with your neck
Okay.
beard, your new neck,
I'm just saying,
new neck beard.
I resent that.
But you know what I mean? Like it's
Actually, but yeah, no, yeah, it's
dude, it's those people that they're they just like their opinion is based upon the college professor that told them of an opinion that was different than whatever kind of parents they had at their home. And so now, oh, I don't believe in your sky daddy.
yeah.
And how many times, what's funny is how many times people do stuff like that, right? Like they
Wait,
just
wait.
have their go-to words. Like they're not even saying anything original. They've
Yeah,
got nothing original. I'm just missing you, Sky Daddy. Take that,
got him.
milady. Milady, as they take a drag from their vape.
I definitely didn't quit vaping almost a year and a half ago. Oh
What was
god,
your
dude.
What was your favorite flavor?
Mint. It was the Jewel, the mint one. I know, I'm a complete tool. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you are. Well, you are even more.
Yeah. But yeah, if anything,
Just
like
another check mark.
I think if anything for these dudes, like I get it, you know what I mean? Like being edgy, being funny. Oh yeah, let's make fun of the Christians, like. But it's like, come on, like,
Nobody's made fun of the Christians before. I'm
yeah,
saying something new and original.
like I feel sorry for them, you know what I mean? It's like it's
Oh,
almost like
dude, totally.
in a form
Yeah,
of
I do.
delusion. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
still
do, but I
funny.
can't help it.
I just can't help but mock them because it's such a funny meme. Like,
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's like, let me go to the profile. Yep, exactly, kind of sadly, what I already had envisioned in my mind, and if it's perfect.
and that's what's hard for me too, right?
I just let
Because
people in the comments like do it, bro. I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna deal
no,
with it.
absolutely,
And
no,
then
I know, but it's like I got so good at it that it's really hard to resist in moments like that. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy
mercy.
on me, a sinner.
That's me every day,
Kyrie
dude.
eleison, Kyrie eleison.
Every day, bro. It's like it's so hard, and then I just see the comment, and like my finger starts like twitching, and I'm just like, ah, and I'm like, okay, no, I can't, I can't. But some,
My fingers twitching, the corner of my eye, like
yeah.
I gotta.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm like, oh. But yeah, it's hard not to come in with the heavy sarcasm and just go off the deep end. But I'm like, you know what? That's on them, bro. Like they have a literal computer on their hand to do all the research in the world, and this is the way you decide to spend your time.
Yeah, yeah, man. Well, you know what, man, it's getting kind of late. We've actually gone like
Ooh.
it's like past 11 on the East Coast now, and what, 7,
Oh yeah, and
6?
it's a Monday too, bro. Nice.
Yeah, I know. No, I know, dude. I just don't feel well. I need to, and I gotta make my bed. I did like the sheets today, and then I gotta go make my bed. And like,
Make your
dude, that's
bed,
the worst.
bucko.
Dude, that's the worst, right? It's absolutely the worst when you're not feeling good and you just want to go lay in bed. But now I gotta put that stupid fitted sheet on there, and I'm gonna put it on wrong at first, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna have the corners wrong. I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna have the corners wrong.
Well,
Yeah.
now that like I'm trying to be more of a man of God, pray, drink your water, change your socks, and you'll be fine.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. So, like, you got a wife, man. I don't have a wife. You
Yeah.
can just be like, wife, go make bed, make sandwich. Ugh.
Yeah, that's how and that's how she got the kids, the house, and I'm living in my my truck.
Right on, bro. All right, man. Well, it's good talking to you. We'll have to get this on a little bit better kind of planning out, especially with like, well, it's gonna be too. Like, as we're bringing on some of these other guests, it's a little harder
Yeah,
to like be like, oh, hey, Jim Bob.